And what if you say some of these accounts that you're talking about where it's 8% guaranteed roll up, et cetera, and you're like, well, I can put some of my money in there now, but I have other money I'd want to put in later. You can add to these accounts, and those locks, those rates are guaranteed.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
if you wait, guess what?
They
The guarantee is that it's not going to be there.
go away.
Exactly. That's the guarantee.
Yeah, no,
But
that's so true.
we do have a lot of ways to help you and options to help you. I'm excited about some things that you've been talking about recently for additional tax-free planning as well as legacy.
Right.
So we have a lot of options for our clients.
Yeah, we truly do. And folks, you can protect your accounts right now. Tax-free money is real money that we can help you with. So it's important to make the right decisions here with your accounts because again, there's more coming down, folks. There truly is more coming down, and people need to be prepared for what lies ahead. I really believe there's some things that are coming down that are extremely important, you know.
Absolutely. And if you're listening and you happened upon us and you don't normally listen, and you're younger than what you think our audience is, these tax-free planning accounts that I'm talking about, please do call us on that because you would be shocked at what you could provide for yourself, the stability you could provide for your future.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And it is huge right now.
Mhm.
Think about it, Patty. There's a storm brewing.
Oh, yeah.
There's a financial storm brewing. We're at the beach. We can see the cloud on the horizon and it looks safely far away. But what happens when that wind starts blowing in? That storm gets there. Have you ever been to the beach and been there when there's a storm?
Oh, yeah. You don't have time to get out of it.
No, it's very quick.
And that's going to be the same thing.
I do believe that. I do believe there's a financial storm coming that people need to be prepared with about, you know. And if they don't take the steps to protect their money, it's a problem. It's going to be a big problem for them.
Absolutely.
And I mean, what happens, Patty, if we go into full-blown recession, hyperinflation, real estate market crashing? I mean, this is some of the things that seem to be lying ahead, you know? I mean, I'm not trying to be a prognosticator of negative things. I'm just saying, look at some common sense. Look at what's going on right now. And Tom, you're right. The Fed's buying debt. Central banks are just giving money. They're manipulating money right now. And it's important to understand what your options are. You know, it truly is. Folks, you can reach us at 1-800-440-0434 or go to mymoneyissafe.com. Patty, something else we predicted.
What is that?
Internet going down.
Oh, my goodness.
And I don't think we've seen the tip of the
Oh,
iceberg.
no. This is like when you had the little, in the earthquake, what is it called?
Aftershock.
Well, I guess this is pre-aftershock.
Pre
This is the pre-shock.
the pre-shock. That's right.
But that's what it is. And in the Bible, they call it birthing pains.
Isn't that a line from a movie?
Death that was gone with the wind.
Gone with the Wind.
Miss Scarlett, I
Frankly,
don't know
Patty.
this about again, very frankly.
We won't finish that.
No, we
sentence.
will not finish that sentence.
I mean, that was like the worst language ever used in a movie up to that point.
I know, and my parents took me to see it. But my poor father, I'm a huge animal lover. And when the horses started dying in the war, I screamed and cried and ran out. My dad went outside with me and then sat with me and missed the rest of the movie.
Really, really.
Yes. And I will tell you this, and if you think about it, because then that probably really did happen because they didn't have CGI and stuff. So I support my decision to do that.
Yes, I think that was very kind for you to
Yes, it was.
support the horses.
I did. But yes, that was the movie.
Yeah.
And if we're not careful, the economy will be gone with the wind.
Well, Patty, let's talk about some solutions right now. People can protect their money. There's some stuff that they can do right now that's huge. We're talking accounts they can get that guaranteed 8% roll up. You know, I'm gonna actually post something on Facebook to so folks, you can actually go to Facebook and see what we're talking about, some of the things that we're putting up, and you'll see what we're talking about. I mean, there are things that you can do to protect your money. Right now, let me tell you, Patty, I think that people that have 401ks
Mm.
that are not taking advantage of their in-service rollovers are going to be the ones that are going to be really in a bad position. And that's a problem.
Let me ask you this question.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on someone that is thinking about retiring and they have a nice amount left in their 401k, but they cannot take the rest of that out till they retire?
Patty,
Do you know what I'm asking?
yeah, I would move what I can.
Yeah.
Um, I would move what I can. I actually had a client one time that actually retired early, got rehired by the job just so he can move his account. He was 53.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, look, you hate to see a repetition, and I believe it'll be worse of 2008.
I agree.
And listen, folks, this is not a scare tactic. This is telling you that you need to look at what we're talking about. That in-service rollover is your friend, which means you take your 401k and you move it to the IRA. Also, many have made the mistake of moving your old 401k to your new 401k. You might be able to take that balance out and protect your accounts. Simply give us a call at 1-800-440-0434 or go to mymoneyissafe.com. And we can look and help and see if that's the situation where you might be able to protect your account. Think about this, Patty. If the market were to drop 50%, which is almost what happened during COVID in a short period of time. If I've got $400,000 in my 401k and it drops 50, I've got 200. But if I can do the in-service rollover, protect the 400, the only thing that's exposed is my current or future contributions.
Absolutely.
Which, if I've emptied out that portion of the account, I've insulated my money. But here's what it is. I'm going to lay it on the line, folks. It's called greed. How much money do you need, John D. Rockefeller? Just a little bit more.
Absolutely.
And that's human nature. We all want a little bit more. Do you know that every time I've made a financial decision to try to make a little bit more and I've stretched out, I've gotten burned.
You made just a little bit less.
I made a little less. And this past week, I lost a small chunk that I didn't need to lose. So I decided, you know what? I've got a strategy that'll make up some of that loss. And I didn't have a lot of exposure in the market. I've got a little bit of Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's got a place. Am I a big proponent of it? Not really, because I don't fully understand it. And if I don't fully understand it, I'm not going to push people one way or the other. There's a lot of people that understand Bitcoin a lot better than me, but there is a place for it. It's a small place in my portfolio. Can you imagine the guy who lost his password and he can't get to the millions of
That makes
dollars?
me sick.
Yeah, I mean, you would think, well, that just goes to show you that's the nebulous aspect of it. Think about this.
I would hire a hacker.
What happens if the internet goes down, Patty?
I would get it all out. I would hire a hacker and tell him, you know what?
Wait.
I will split.
If the internet goes down, how are you getting your money?
I mean, I would get it out before then.
Well,
as soon as my hacker hacked in, I would say, okay, whatever, when you get in, whatever that value is, we split it.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, it'd be worth it.
Dear Lord, Jeff.
Something is better than nothing. Hey, we are out of time, folks. Reach us at 800-440-0434. Go to mymoneyissafe.com.
Where it snows, see the salt drifting down as the snowflakes surrender.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you have a 401k or an IRA? Do you have money in your retirement? Do you know that you can get a guaranteed 8% right now for your accounts? That's for income. Do you know you can get a guaranteed 12% simple interest? The 8% is compound interest. If you want to see how to protect your retirement account, get a reasonable rate of return, not a pie in the sky return, a reasonable rate of return, give us a call at 1-800-440-0434. Go to mymoneyissafe.com.
The Caribbean is calling. Dennis Prager here. Join me on an unforgettable cruise to the Caribbean this November. Imagine 9 days of basking in the sun surrounded by the stunning beauty of a tropical paradise. We'll cruise to the vibrant islands of Half Moon Cay, Curacao, Bonaire, Turks and Caicos, and much more. Stroll through Curaçao's iconic pastel-colored shops and snorkel in Bonaire's world-class coral reefs. You'll enjoy some of the most delicious cuisine aboard Holland America's Rotterdam, a fantastic destination itself with riveting shows and breathtaking views. We'll be joined by special guest Sean McDowell, and we'll both share fresh insights, current events, discuss happiness and our future in America in light of the election. November 29th to December 8th of this year. Secure your spot today by calling 855-565-5519 or online at pragercruise.com.
They say when a man turns from sin to the Lord, that forgiveness like snow covers him evermore. And somewhere it's so.
The song that you heard was sung by yours truly, called Somewhere It's Snowing, written by Willie Swain, and beautiful song. And you know, it's the end of July, August. Usually somebody does a Christmas in July type thing, and I figured I'd talk about snow in the middle of Florida heat, Greenville heat, Atlanta heat, Chattanooga heat. So now you can think about seeing the soft drifting down. So, Patty, you know, we're talking about different things. I put the annual reset, and folks that are listening to me on the radio, you can go to our Facebook, go to Prosperity Group at Facebook, and you can look at the reset. I've posted it up there that you can see a comparison of a CD, the market, our green line where you lock in your gains and your income gains right there. It's really important that people understand what their options are there, okay? You know, what are your thoughts? We're talking about different things right now. I really believe that people need to take a very proactive stance before things happen.
Absolutely. They need to look at what do they want their life to look like?
Yeah.
You know, not what are you going to dictate to me that my life will look like, but what do I want it to look like? And what can I do to ensure that that happens?
Hey, I want to give 4 questions that retirees should ask themselves, maybe to arrive to the answer that you're talking about. Okay. Number 1, do I have a foundation with my money?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a base? Do I have a baseline? Do I have a safety valve? What happens if the market crashes? How am I affected? So number 1, do I have a base? Number 2, do I have an income goal? Number 3, how do I achieve my income goal? And number 4, is it reliable income, or could it vary based on the market? Those are 4 questions that you should ask, folks. And if you are not asking that question, and let me tell you what most people do, Patty, that I've seen. They have a mindset of, I want to maintain my lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't put the numbers down. And so the way that most people formulate the numbers is they want to see their accounts go up. And they figure if they see their accounts going up, their income is good. I had a conversation with one of the companies that we deal with. Okay. It was a wholesaler with a company that you're well familiar with. In fact, they're coming out they said the most competitive guarantees. They're going to ease the compliance, and they're going to come up to compete with some of these carriers because they realize that they need to do so, but they are prepared to drop the rates based on what the feds do.
Of course.
So the reason I'm saying that, the rates that are available now may not be available in 2 weeks.
Absolutely not.
So folks, you need to call us 800-440-0434 or go to mymoneyissafe.com. But the income percentage is higher than it's ever been. And so here's what we're saying. If you have an annuity that is older than 2023, give us a call, folks. Give us a call. So in other words, 2022 and behind. We have moved millions of dollars of people's accounts and improved their position both for income and returns. So if you have an older account, give us a call. It's crucial that you make that decision. It really is.
Absolutely. And you might say, well, I already turned my income on.
Yeah,
Not as easy,
right,
but we have been able to improve positions even
Yeah.
with income turned on.
right. We have.
But call us sooner than later because every penny you take out decreases what the new income could be.
Correct.
But yes, that's not even a sign not to call us.
No. So if you've turned on income, call us. If you haven't turned on income, call us. If you have an older account, call us right now. We can reposition your account in a great way.
And if you're just counting on the increase of your account to keep you afloat, think about this. What if the increasing of the account is because the market has been going up and that's your increase?
That's
Think
right.
about the foundation.
Yeah.
That is a very shaky foundation you're on. Okay. And you might say,
Well, it's a foundation built on sand.
exactly.
It really is.
Exactly. And the Bible teaches us not to do that.
Right.
That's not what we built our hope on and our faith. And if that's what you're doing, then please definitely do call us.
Yeah, folks, listen, we talk about different strategies. We talk about different things right now. We've got fixed portions of our accounts that are earning over 5%. I just moved a chunk of my money out of the retirement accounts and I put the majority of it in something I'm earning 5.25%. Am I okay with that? Sure. As long as the market, if the market's going to go down, that 5.25 is a guarantee for me right now for me not to go backwards.
Exactly.
And folks, it's important that you protect your money. And stay tuned for some of the other strategies we're going to be talking about right now. Folks, it's crucial. Patty, we can make sure that people have a pension-like income. Think about this. I've got a 401k, I've got an IRA. I want to create a pension-like income.
Actually, we could create for them a better than pension-like income.
Oh, I agree.
Why? Because when you pass, your pension stops.
Right.
However,
That's right.
with the plan that we have, it continues to your spouse.
It continues to your spouse, and then whatever's left over goes to the family.
Exactly.
Unlike a traditional pension that stops at 1 or 2 deaths. So it's really a pension on steroids like income.
A turbo's pension.
A turbo pension. Ooh, I like that.
I do too. It must be like a Porsche.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
But
yes. And we'll make sure you have enough gas to drive the Porsche.
It'll be enough gas to get you there and then some.
Patty, 8% seems to be a very magic number. When we're talking an 8% compounded guaranteed roll up, do you know the last time I had an 8% roll up for clients was in 2009 to 11. I've got people that are still getting that guaranteed 8%.
And also mention that it's, like you said, it is compounded.
It's compounded. That's
right. And you're guaranteed to get that for 10 years.
So if you look at the rule of 72, which means how many years it takes for your money to double, at 8%, it takes 8.5 years or almost 9 years for your money to double. So that means my income base is going to double in 9 years, regardless of what happens. So if we're looking at the line that I'm showing people, if you look on our website, if you look at the Facebook, I've got the graph. It shows that it took 5 years for the market to come back after the market crashed in 2008. Do you know we've had the longest bull run in history? Do you know that a bear run lasts 25% longer than a bull run? 25% longer. So that means that we've had 12 years of a bull run. We could have a 16-year bear run.
Exactly. And tell me that doesn't put the fear of God in you.
Well, and this is the thing. Can you imagine right now, Patty? I'm 64. I'm not retiring right now. I'm probably not going to retire till I'm in my 70s. I like what I do. I like being active. I don't see the need. I want to leave a legacy to my family, to my grandkids. I want to be able to bless my children, bless my grandkids, bless my great grandkids. I think that would be a cool legacy to do. I also want to do stuff to help people. We do ministry things and the like. Can you imagine right now the number of people that are going to be unprepared when this market corrects?
Hmm.
And you know, I'm certainly more conservative than anything else. So that kind of declares that I like President Trump. I like what he says, but my faith isn't built on President Trump. My faith is built on Jesus. So the point is, I have to make smart and rational decisions. But here's what no one's talking about, Patty. The debt is going through the roof. We are going through the roof. So we have a perfect storm that's going to blow up. And no matter who gets in there, it may not come out the way we expect it
Got
to.
your ears on there, Doc?
So are rates going to drop? Eventually they will, I hope, because the debt's.
Got your ears on there, Doc? Hello, Doc. Can you hear me, Doc? Hello, Doc. Hello, hello, hello. I don't hear you, Doc.
Except it's not God's way of doing a reset, which was like a jubilee or where all the debt was forgiven.
Oh,
It's
no.
man's way of keeping people under debt, and only the very top benefit, and the rest of us survive. So that's
Doc, you got your ears on, son. I can't hear you. Are you there? Put your ears on. Think you need an earpiece. Got your ears on there, Doc? Hey, it looks like you're doing it now. Okay, that's great. Now can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Now I can hear you good. All right, we're ready to go.
All right, buddy. I was lost deep in thought, getting ready.
Well, I'll let you continue to stay in thought then. I'm going to send you some audio and I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Okay, bud.
the beach, and there's a storm coming. And I believe we need to be prepared financially like never before. You need to protect your retirement like never before. These strategies we talk about week to week work. They've been proven through the Depression. We'll see you next week. Call us at 800-440-0434. Go to mymoneyissafe.com. God bless.
The preceding is sponsored by Prosperity Group, LLC, and is a pre-recorded program. To learn more, visit mymoneyissafe.com. That's mymoneyissafe.com.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka isn't sure we've solved the problem.
Guess who really runs things for operations at the Secret Service?
Ooh, deputy director.
Bingo.
So the deputy director was really responsible for Butler, and now he's the director. Just because he's next in line doesn't mean you've solved anything.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Weeknights at 9, right before Kevin Jackson at midnight on AM 860, The Answer and theanswertampa.com.
This message is for anyone looking for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance, even if you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or taking anxiety meds. Here's an example. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe overweight with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost about $200 a month. We're Term Provider, experts in finding affordable term life insurance for those that may not be in perfect health. If you've had prostate cancer, heart conditions, high cholesterol, or on prescription medications, you may still qualify for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance. Get a quick quote by calling Term Provider at 800-568-2790. 800-568-2790. If you're looking for term life insurance but have type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, or have other health issues, call Term Provider at 800-568-2790 or visit termprovider.com. Termprovider.com.
All right, folks, this is your last chance to get that free book on calcium and try Dr. Pincus's CalMax formula absolutely risk-free. Here's the special toll-free number to call. It's 1-800-827-1192. As we've been talking about, CalMax is a very unique blend of calcium and magnesium that gets absorbed into your bloodstream so you can replenish those vital nutrients that your body burns up when you experience stress. And remember, Dr. Pincus has arranged a very special offer here. It's only available to you listeners. So when you call, be sure to mention this program to get that risk-free trial of CalMax. Again, this is only available to you listeners and only if you call this special toll-free number. It's 1-800-827-1192. Plus, if you're one of the first 100 callers, you'll get an extra free supply with your order. So all you have to do is pick up the phone and call 1-800-827-1192.
WGUL and W229DJ Dunedin. Powered by Prosperity Group. Come grow with us and reach your retirement goals.
Experience the best selection of cigars and accessories in the country. Corona Cigar is located at 4142 West Boy Scout Boulevard across from International Plaza, or visit coronacigar.com.
With SRN News, I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. Tropical storm Debbie is churning across the Gulf of Mexico and heading for Florida.
The National Hurricane Center says a powerful storm is likely to bring flooding to much of Florida's Gulf Coast, along with Georgia and the Carolinas by Monday. Senior hurricane specialist Jack Bevan.
Biggest widespread threat to this system will be heavy rain because it will likely linger over the southeastern United States for several days after it makes landfall.
In Florida, residents like Justin Willis filling sandbags, telling WFTS better safe than sorry.
Florida is always unpredictable, so I mean, it's always to be, better prepared than not be prepared.
I'm Julie Walker.
More than 6,000 firefighters are battling California's Park Fire, and that's just one of 16 active wildfires in the state. David Acuna is with CAL FIRE.
Are the firefighters tired? Yes, absolutely. They've been actively fighting wildfires since the end of May. And now here we are at the beginning of August, which traditionally is when the old term fire season, this is when fires would pick up. Now we refer to it as a fire year because we can literally have fires anywhere in California between January and December.
Also at srnnews.com, former President Trump took aim at a fellow Republican during a campaign rally in Atlanta. He assailed GOP Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, blaming him for his loss to Joe Biden in 2020. And he claimed there's more bad news coming for another 4 years of Harris-Biden policies.
It was announced that unemployment is surging, with 350,000 Americans joining the unemployment rolls just last month. Tell you what, we could end up in a depression. We could end up in World War III and a depression. How about that?
Vice President Harris will soon announce a running mate. They'll appear together starting on Tuesday. This is SRN News.
Well, summer is upon us and the weather is beautiful. Everyone has a favorite outdoor activity: golf, bike riding, bird watching, long walks. Ask 100 people and you'll get 100 answers. But if everyday aches and pains are keeping you on the sidelines, I have one answer: Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, in 3 weeks or less, you'll start to feel the difference all day, every day. So whatever you like to do, swimming, pickleball, hanging out in the garden, Relief Factor can help you feel good again and let you enjoy all your favorite outdoor activities all summer long. ReliefFactor.com, 1-800-4RELIEF, 1-800-473-5433. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
Listen to your favorite Christian programs anytime on the One Place app. Download and listen offline. Stream to your car or automated home device. Download One Place at Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Just when you thought your smartphone couldn't get any smarter, now you can add the AM860 app with local news, national headlines, and commentary. The answer is smart. Adding the AM860 app to your smartphone is genius. Get it now at the Apple App Store and Google Play.
We have a storm surge watch in effect, a tropical storm watch in effect, and a heat advisory in effect from noon today until 6 p.m. this evening. For today, intervals of clouds and sun with a thunderstorm in spots in the afternoon, high 93. Tonight, the tropical storm will approach the area with increasing winds and rain. There can be flooding and power outages, low 77. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Caitlin Lawrence for AM 860, The Answer.
The following program is sponsored by Bay Area Medical Can Care Clinic.
Go, Doc. Go, Doc. Not hearing you, Doc.
Good morning. This is Dr. Bill, your radio MD, and we're coming at you on 860 AM and what's our FM? 93.7, Ken?
90, yeah, that's exactly right, Doc.
Damn, I got it. And
I said I've been working here for 5 years. First time you got that right.
And we're also streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, X, Y, and I think Z too. But
Probably, yeah.
So Netanyahu says they're going to retaliate against Iran for the bombing. I guess they dropped a missile or a rocket on a playground and killed 12 kids. By the way, they were Druze. They were not Jews. And as you know, Ken, Druze is an offshoot of Islam, but it's got a little bit of everything in it: Christianity, Gnosticism, Buddhism, Hinduism. And although it's considered a sect of Islam because they believe that there is one God and that is Allah, but they also believe in divine justice, reincarnation, and direct connection to God. So they're not, but they're Israeli citizens. They live peacefully in Israel along with the Jews, and they're a very small group of people. They've been persecuted in the Middle East over the decades. So at any rate, where's he going to hit? I think he's going. Here's my thought. Okay, we'll start with the long range radar. See that picture behind me?
Yeah, if you're not on Facebook, go to Dr. Bill, your radio MD, and you'll get on with us. And where you're looking at here, the red lines.
Those are the radar installations that Iran has. And folks, if you're not seeing us on Facebook or YouTube, these have sight into Iraq, into the eastern part of Iraq, which is a neighboring country. And as you notice, Ken, there's really no radar on the eastern part of Iran, the country, because they've got.
I'm sure our Air Force just noticed.
Yeah, and you know, they don't have any radar because it's Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Turkmenistan, which are absolutely no threat to Iran and don't have much of an Air Force anyway. I think the Pakistanis do, but they're not interested. So at any rate, now they've got some cool weapons, but I think that the first thing they should do, and of course they didn't call me, but I would like to offer them this, is there's a drone factory. Let's see if I can find that thing. All right, let's see. Is that the drone factory?
I'm seeing Syria now. Oh, there's Tehran way over there, right there.
Yeah, okay, so the drone factory is over here, and it's about 1,200 miles by the crow flight from Jerusalem to the drone factory, which is south of Tehran. And I think that this would be a good target for the Israelis. And with the fighters and the bombers that they have, they could easily reach it. So here's the bomber that they're flying. Now, the bomber is the
not one of ours, I don't think, is it?
No, it's a hybrid that was made by Boeing and by Israel, by their engineers and their Defense Department, and it's the 115I, I believe is what they call that.
Mm-hmm.
And that is an intermediate range bomber. I don't know if it has stealth capabilities or not. It doesn't look like it, but apparently it'll go pretty close to 2,000 miles per hour, so they could get there in no time.
Yeah, they could drop their bombs, be able to med in no time. Yeah, you're right.
So, but they probably have to refuel, so they're going to need our help coming back over Iraq, or they may go down into the Gulf and refuel there. So it depends on how they come across and how many times they'll have to refuel. But the drone factory is one target that I would suggest Netanyahu seriously consider while he's there, because that's what's doing a lot of damage right now. That's
right. You put a stop on the Houthis too.
Yeah, you'll slow down the Houthis, and it would be tough to get all of the rocket factories because those are small arms, basically, and that would require multiple different locations. And I don't think that the Israelis want to give away the knowledge they have about that.
No, you go with the assembly plant. Take that out.
Yeah, I would take out the big plant. I would also take out their radar installations.
Absolutely, just for the fun of it.
Well, that way you kind of tell them, hey, we're coming back. And
Yeah,
this
you
time
really need stealth for that, though, to take out those things, unless you come from behind, like you say. They
I don't
don't
think
seem,
you need stealth to take out those radar installations. You
without
just,
getting shot down. They may see you coming.
well, they may see you coming, but there may be some countermeasures too.
True, yeah.
And you might
You
have
could probably
some,
send in drones to take out some of those.
Yep. So I think that there's a lot of options for the Israelis, and I hope that they make good use of this and not piddle around. Now, they did really reach out and touch them after the last attack. When was that? Back in April?
Yeah.
And I think the Iranians kind of got a little
ticked off. I think so.
Little reality check.
Well, they sent those 300 drones towards Israel. I don't think 2 got through or something. It was a pretty sad attack.
Yeah, I think so too. So, at any rate, what are you going to do? So we're hoping that the Israelis will do this right, because if they don't and the Iranians counterattack, it becomes a bigger war. I still think the Democrats are going to get us in a world war. And now Trump's saying that. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that on the news a couple minutes ago. Yeah.
After me barking it for months and months, now Trump.
Well, you haven't called for a depression yet. He was calling for depression too. I'm not sure that's going to happen.
No, I think there'll be a recession.
I think a recession is likely. Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing to the base. But we've been saying recession now for what, 3 years, Ken? And it hadn't happened.
At least since the pandemic kind of came to a close.
Yeah, and I mean, things just keep bouncing back. Now, it may be that we'll have a slowdown. It might be a good time to buy some stock.
Well, hiring is slowing. That's an indication of a recession may be on the way. So, because they're slowing, because there's not enough for you to put together, folks, so they have to cut back.
Well, and most of the job growth has been in healthcare and in government. So it's really kind of fictitious to look at the job growth numbers and the job numbers in general, because it doesn't really reflect adequately what's going on. And, we have to consider manufacturing, because if you don't make something and sell it, you're not going to get very far. You can't just sell services.
Right. You're going to be laying off people if you can't sell your product.
Yeah, you got to have something hard to sell, because people, I'm a doctor, I need equipment and I need supplies, and somebody has to manufacture those things.
You'll run out of medicine sooner or later unless somebody's making it.
Yep. So,
well, I hope the Israelis get it going pretty quick here.
I think they will, but they're going to be very disciplined about it, and very structured and thoughtful about it.
They always are, yes.
This is a big ticket item for them, this intermediate range bomber, and they don't want to lose those. And they may not send them in yet. They may hold them back and wait until they've knocked out the radar installations with some other types of weapons. Now, they do have F-35s, so they do have
They do have some stealth. They do, yes.
Stealth, and they could probably go in, because the F-35 can carry some ordnance. And, they can take their old ordnance, and I think Boeing makes this JDAM, which is a retrofit. So it's a guided, it's a radio or whatever radio guided device that you can attach to a dumb bomb and make it into a smart bomb. I'm sure that there has to be some kind of a rocketry propellant to it, so that you can guide the thing. You can't just drop it and think.
No, I think you do. I think it's just a dumb bomb that it's so high, you have and it's going so fast already, it has wings on it that it can adjust its flight path.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, if it has some wings on it, then it still has to have a guidance system in it, because you're going to have to adjust the wings. Yeah.
Right. It's a I know, I happened to see this on television not too long ago. It's a 3-part component. You have the bomb itself, and you have a nose cone that goes on. That's the guidance, and it has a little camera on it so it can figure out where it's going. And then on the back, it has a tail end with the fins and the rudder kind of thing going. And with that, that's what Russia is using right now to pummel the Ukrainians, because Ukrainians have been shooting down all their expensive stuff. So now they've gone to dumb bombs with these guidance GPS devices.
By the way, Ken, we have finally delivered some F-16s to the Ukrainians, and I think we've given them 4 or 5. We've got 20 more coming, and then the other NATO countries, especially the Baltics, and I'm sure the Germans and the Dutch. The Dutch are very big on helping. You know, they're good people, the Dutch. I like those folks. But boy, they
Well,
got
they've been through a world war the hard way, and
yeah,
they don't want to go.
but you know what? They got really mad at me when I rode my bicycle in the park. You're not
What?
supposed to do that.
In the park? You can't ride a bike in the park?
No, no. You know, there's dedicated lanes on the street, and there are certain areas where you just don't take your bicycle. You know, there's so many bicycles in in the Netherlands, and Amsterdam is. I mean, they have racks of, you know, they'll have 20 or 30 old bikes chained up to a tree on the street because people just abandon them, and they have this standard bicycle that almost everybody rides, and it's got a little tail light and a headlight, and you can customize them, and you can get them with the suicide seat up front and stick the kids up there. And I mean, everybody rides a bike. It's pretty cool, but you're not supposed to ride certain areas. You know, otherwise it's a mess. People
I don't think
want
those bikes have been abandoned. You know, you can smoke legally marijuana there in Amsterdam, I think. So I think they just get stoned. They don't know where they left their bike. Which tree was it, man?
Well, they call
a
them
big one,
cafes
dude.
where you can go and smoke. You're not supposed to smoke on the street.
Oh, I see. Boy,
And
come out, you forget which way you parked.
I know you get confused easily because all the bikes look the same.
All look the same, exactly.
They're all the
like you
same
said.
model.
So yeah, you just leave it there. Get another
The
one.
Dutch are very efficient, you know. They're like, this one's good, it works, everybody gets one. That's
right.
So at any rate, where were we?
We were talking about Ukraine and Russia for some reason. Oh, the jets, the F-16s have arrived.
Yeah, and so the Dutch are helping. They're going to send some jets, and I'm sure the French. But you know what we're doing is we're not sending them directly from the United States. We're funneling them through the Baltics and through the Netherlands and different members of NATO, so that the Russians can't say you're attacking us. You're coming.
I see. It's a NATO thing. It's not a U.S. thing.
Yeah, and but I think that this will be a game changer for the Ukrainians. And by the way, they say they sunk a Russian submarine in the Black Sea.
How'd they do that?
I don't know.
Have they said it? Do we have submarine drones now over there?
I don't know. I think some guy swam out there and said, "Hey, there's a sub," and he stuck a bomb on it and swam away.
Well, I'm fascinated because I know I think the Soviets say they have underwater submarine drones, but
yeah,
who knows if anything they say is true.
That's been tried multiple times, and back in World War II, it didn't work very well.
Well,
the
maybe
British
Ukrainians have pulled it off.
The Germans tried it. The Japanese tried it.
But maybe Ukrainians have finally pulled it off here. They're pretty resourceful folks, I've found over the last couple of years.
Oh yeah, they're smart people.
They are. Yeah,
the breadbasket of Europe.
That's right. Exactly.
And they have so much natural resources. They have oil and coal and minerals and all kinds of stuff there. So they're well suited to become a major player if they get into NATO because they have so much.
Right, and that's why Vladimir wants them. All those things you just mentioned.
Well, plus the way to attack Russia has traditionally been through Ukraine because it's flat.
Right.
So you can move a big army quickly as long as you don't get there in the muddy season.
Yeah.
And the Russians are afraid that we're going to invade them. And they probably have a long history of being invaded by Europeans and Turks and everybody else, but they've done their fair share too, Ken.
Absolutely.
You know, this is not a one-way street. And no matter how much you tell them, look, we don't want you. We don't want to conquer you. We just want you to behave. They're still going to think, oh, we don't believe them.
Well, that's why Poland jumped into NATO as soon as they could after World War II.
Oh, yeah. After the Soviet Union broke up, they were in like Flint, baby.
Didn't waste any time. And they're pretty militant about it. I mean, they've been offering to send stuff to, they probably are sending a whole bunch of stuff to Ukraine all the time.
And as being of half Polish descent, I can tell you we're very smart people. Thank you very much.
I too am half Polish. But I'm also half German, so every 30 years I have to invade myself. It's very painful. I've been doing that joke for 40 years, Doc.
And who's winning?
The Poles.
The Poles are winning.
Yeah, they're much more fun.
That must have been your mother's side.
No, actually, Dad's side. Mother's side, very stoic. I don't think that was very funny, Kenneth. You shouldn't say that. Jawohl, grandfather. Yeah, Grandpa lived with us. He had a nasty German accent, man. He'd scare the heck out of you.
I had an old ex-Nazi professor when I was doing my cardiology, and he still had a German accent. And you know what? He was still so European. His kids wanted a swimming pool, and he said, "Okay, you're digging it." And they dug out for a swimming pool. And they did it, like good little Nazis. They got in there.
That's exactly right.
Carl Dienhart, he was something else, and he's like, "Oh, the Jews are like the American Indians. What's the difference?" I said, "I'm half Jewish here."
Well, Grandpa came over here between the wars, so.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, but you know what? The thing is, when he got here, he had to go through Ellis Island. Let's segue to immigration a little bit here. He had to go through Ellis Island. Oh no, he didn't go. He went through New York Harbor because he had a sponsor and he had a job waiting for him when he got here. And if you could prove that back then, you didn't have to go to Ellis Island. You went to New York Harbor and everybody checked your paperwork and verified that what you were saying was true. And somebody picked you up and you went off to wherever part of the country you were going to go to. But if you went to Ellis Island, you had to sit there for a long time. They had to do all the medical stuff and everything.
Oh yeah.
We need Ellis Islands on the southern border right now. Maybe 2 or 3 of them.
We need to close the southern border and then decide how to set up to process people. But
closing it would be first, certainly.
The problem too, Ken, is with Maduro winning in Venezuela again, legally or illegally, more and more people are going to want to come to the United States and seek asylum, and they, under our laws, they have the right to do that.
But we have to control it, so we have to close it first and then build control centers.
And bomb Mexico City.
Well, I don't think.
No, wait a minute. Hang on.
I like Cancun, and it's nice in some spots of Mexico.
And Mexico City is really one of the great cities of the world.
And the Aztec stuff is all there. You don't want to destroy all that.
No, we love the Aztecs.
That's history.
They were very warm and cuddly people.
Yeah.
They'd play basketball with your skull. Did you know that?
I didn't, but they succumbed to what? A microbe? A biological? They think they disappeared because of what the Europeans brought over here?
No, this was long before the Europeans. So if they defeated another tribe and they'd chop off some heads, they'd keep a couple as balls for the sport. It was like basketball, only you played it with your feet and you had to kick it up into the goal.
So it's soccer.
It was a mix of soccer and basketball.
Okay.
With a skull. With your enemy's skull. And if you lost, well, your skull may be next.
Well, you weren't the real loser in that game anyway, so whoever you're kicking around was the real loser. Yeah.
Either run like hell or don't lose. They were tough people, the Aztecs.
Well, anyway, we got to do something about that border. We got to shut it down and organize it. If I ever saw something that needs organization in this country, it's the border.
Absolutely. And Kamala, she's not going to do anything. You know that.
Come on. She's an immigration czar. If a czar can't do anything, who can?
Now she says she wasn't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She was, and then
I missed that memo. I just saw the one where she was appointed. So.
Oh, you just saw the memo where she never accepted it formally.
Oh, is that what it was?
I don't know. She's got some excuse.
Sorry, Mr. President, I declined to serve that role. I don't think you say that to the president, do you?
I don't think he'll remember, so you can probably say whatever you want. The next day,
that's what happened. That's what happened. I went and I talked to Joe, and I said, Joe, I can't do this. And he said, okay. He just doesn't remember the conversation. That's all. He's a kind old man.
At any rate, so I ran across an article by a female urologist, and her name is Rachel Rubin. looks like a nice Jewish girl. And she's a urologist. As you know, urology deals with the urogenital system, different than nephrology, which deals with the microscopic aspects of the kidneys. And so she wrote an article on sex, and she takes a sexual history, and she calls herself a sexual medicine doctor. And she asked four things: how's your libido? Are you able to be aroused? Can you have an orgasm? And do you have pain? Of course, this is geared towards the women more than the men. And so the libido part of it, which is different than my sense of what libido is, she thinks that if you only want to have sex once or twice a month, that your libido is low.
Low, okay.
Now, if I think you don't want to have it every day, I think your libido is low. But that's just me
But
now.
you're
and
a guy.
I'm not a
guy.
sexologist.
You're a guy.
I know.
It's a whole different world for us. You need a completely different series of questions.
So she, as a urologist, of course, she's going to be worried about things like vascular disease. So if you're a guy and you can't get an erection, you could have, especially if you're diabetic, you could have blockage of the arteries going to your genitalia. And the same with orgasms. If you can't have an orgasm, you could have a neuropathy or some other structural problem. And these are markers of other diseases like diabetes and high blood pressure and high cholesterol. So you better get your blood work done. And if there's pain, well, then, especially in women, then you have to ask about pelvic disease, and you have to check for VD and all that. So there's a number of things that she is addressing. And but how much sex is too much, Ken? That's
again, I'm a guy, so I'm going to say there is no too much.
Yeah, I'm with you, but the women are writing all the articles now.
Well, as guys, we can't understand why women would not want to have sex.
Yeah, and so this is an article from July 5th, and the author is Jennifer Tzese, Tzese. And so, she has her criteria, which don't match mine, of course.
I would say 3 times is probably acceptable to both sides.
That would take some negotiation in my house, but
okay.
But since I'm getting older, the desire, the will is there, but
right. It's getting late. I got to go to sleep. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like the nun and the priest who were trapped.
Let me get my finger over the dump button. Hang on a second. Okay, go ahead.
The nun and the priest who were trapped in the storm, and they went into the little hovel in the hut, and the nun says, "Oh, Father, I'm really cold. Can I have a blanket?" And he said, "Sure," and gave her a blanket. And she said, "I'm still cold. Can I come over with you? And so we can stay warm because it's cold out." He said, "All right, come on." And then she started coming on to him, and she said, "Father, why don't we pretend like we're husband and wife? Who will know?" And he said, "Okay, I'm tired," and rolled over and went to sleep. So, I mean, that I think that sums it up pretty much.
All right. Well, we're never going to solve that question, Doc.
No, well, that's unsolvable. That's the war. But remember, Ken, now the war between the sexes, it's the only war where you have to call a truce every night. Otherwise, there'll be no more soldiers to fight future battles.
Exactly. That's right.
It's a shameful thing. Shameful. And we're not allowed to talk about sex, so let's move on.
Well, okay.
Okay.
Where do you want to go next?
Why does Medicaid keep growing and growing and growing?
Because we have more and more old people?
No, that's Medicare. This is Medicaid.
Oh, Medicaid. I'm sorry, Medicaid. I don't know.
Because Medicaid's giving away more and more than just medicine and medical benefits, and they're cutting hospital benefits and doctor benefits. And so you can get assistance for housing in some states, food vouchers, of course, your medications, even over-the-counter medications you can get with Medicaid now. And it's really getting out of control. And this all started with Obamacare. Well, I mean, it started a long time ago, but it really accelerated with Obamacare. And they're also pushing to erase medical debt. And what they're telling the hospitals is that if you'll erase your medical debt, we'll increase your reimbursement by 5 or 10%. So anybody who has medical bills that exceed 5% of their annual income and they make less than 109,000 a year for a family of four, they can get some relief. And so this is coming out of tax dollars. It's coming out of Medicaid money, and it's being, I guess, camouflaged as part of the Obamacare push. And this is what I said back when Obamacare was being proposed in 2008. I'd said it on the radio too, Ken. I said this is just a backdoor way of shifting money from Medicare to Medicaid.
Well, we can't have that, Doc.
Well, it's working. They're doing it, baby.
We need all the Medicare money we can get.
Well, I don't have a problem with people getting free health care. I mean, if they can't afford it, they should get it. How we do that, though, is a different story. And how much we give them, because I mean, basically, you're just buying votes. So you can get help with your housing. You can get help with your food bill. You can basically, we're enabling more and more people.
Right, and it doesn't help anybody. You're not helping. You're not helping them.
Not in the long term. I don't think so.
You don't give them the fish. You teach them how to fish. So.
Well, you know what they say: give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish and he'll sit in a rowboat and drink beer all day.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
I'm all for it.
A good idea to me, actually. Hey, Doc, it's the bottom of the hour, and I don't have a question.
You don't have a question?
I have no question today.
Okay.
You have a question. You want something you want to let me give you the phone number.
Give it.
You got a question? Okay.
What did Dr. Bill consider the prime target for Israel to hit inside of Iran? What is the prime target Dr. Bill would hit first in Israel? I mean, in Iran, if he were an Israeli Air Force general.
Okay. Well, should we give him a multiple choice kind of thing?
Yeah, we'll give him a multiple choice. Tehran, drone factory, or radar installations.
Exactly. We were a little vague in there, but okay. But we know what you had to hit first.
Yeah. We know.
Before you hit one, you got to hit the other. So think like that.
There you go.
877-969-8600 is the phone number. That's 877-969-8600. 877-969-8600. First caller with the correct answer to today's question is, what will the Iranians have to hit first? What should they hit first? If they, I'm sorry, which would the Israelis hit in Iran first? Let's go that way.
There you go. The Israelis are going to pull the airstrike on Iran. And what would you hit first? You've got three choices.
You got radar, you got the factory, and whatever else you want to put in there.
Yeah, whatever else. Drone factory versus radar.
Okay.
Make your
I think
choice.
We got it. Well, we didn't confuse you completely.
All right,
we'll be back.
Listen, this is Dr. Bill. I got Ken with me, and we'll be right back. Are you there, Ken?
I am. What can I do for you?
I don't hear any feed.
Well, watch me change that. There we go.
727-384-6411. There we go. Dr. Bill here. My friends at St. Pete MRI and Sleep Diagnostics are your best choice for state-of-the-art MRI, CT, and sleep studies. Quality unsurpassed. 25 years experience makes St. Pete MRI my go-to imaging center. Self-pay rates are competitive and out-of-pocket cost a fraction of a hospital. Conveniently accessible from both sides of the bay at 750 94th Avenue North, St. Pete, near the Gandhi. 727-577-2220, 727-577-2220.
Tampa Flooring Gallery, there's only one style that really matters. Yours. For a limited time, take $500 off all flooring, commercial and residential, including kitchen, bath, and outdoor kitchen remodels. TampaFlooringGallery.com.
We have a storm surge watch in effect, a tropical storm watch in effect, and a heat advisory in effect from noon today until 6 p.m. this evening. For today, intervals of clouds and sun with a thunderstorm in spots in the afternoon, high 93. Tonight, the tropical storm will approach the area with increasing winds and rain. There can be flooding and power outages, low 77. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Caitlin Lawrence for AM 860, The Answer.
Go, Dick.
And I'm back. This is Dr. Bill. I got Ken by my side, and we continue on with this informative, fun, and I think interesting radio show and podcast.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So far, I'm still waiting for a winner. I think we do. Oh, we do have one. Here it is now.
All right.
The winner of today's question, by the way, was what should the Israelis hit first when they go into Tehran? And your options were radar, a drone factory, and something else. Mark Bloom. Whoa. Is this true?
Yeah, it's four different words.
Okay. Thank you. All right. I'm sorry. I was surprised there, Doc. Mark Bloom of Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Wow.
Is our winner today. Nice to have you with us, Mark, way up there in the dairy heartland of America.
Oshkosh, by gosh.
That's right. They have a wonderful air show there every year.
Oh, yeah. And wonderful kids' clothing.
And that's right. Exactly. So congratulations to Mark Bloom up in Oshkosh. You're going to have to be a little more on the mail here, Doc, on this one. You're going to get yourself two. Dr. Bill, your Radio MD coffee mic's coming your way.
Thanks for listening, Mark. We really appreciate you, man. That's really great of you. I mean, all the way from Oshkosh.
We've been waiting for an internet winner since we started doing the show on the internet, too. And this is our first one, I think.
Who we got?
Mark Bloom. There you go. Is it Blum? It could be Mark Blum.
Blum.
B-L-U-M.
Okay. And what did he say? Give us the answer.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was the... I'm just so excited we got somebody from Wisconsin. The answer is radar. You hit the radar first.
Radar. All right. Okay. I'd go for the drone factory too, but I guess the radar makes more sense.
You can bring, if you take out the radio, you can bring all the planes in you want.
Yeah. You can have a field day, so to speak.
Exactly. And they'll never see you leave either. So
be like the Marianas turkey shoot. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
The Marianas was a battle in World War II in the South Pacific, and that's where we pretty much decimated what remained of the Japanese Air Force because we had the better planes and the better tactics. And, they didn't really understand that you don't sacrifice your top men, you try and rescue them. But they had this crazy Bushido code that they were supposed to die for the emperor. Well, guess what? If all the top guys die, you got a bunch of newbies in there and they don't know what to do.
Yeah, they lost, I think, 300 planes in that battle. We lost 30.
Yep. Our kill ratio was 10 to 1.
That was amazing. How much that changed. But you're right. That's exactly why, because they didn't take their experienced pilots out to train the rookies.
And you know what? We have had a program of rescuing our soldiers since the beginning of the Republic. And I think that's a good thing. And, the Marines, they always say, leave no one behind. Now, sometimes in battle, there's not much you can do. You got to withdraw to survive. But in general, you go back and you get them.
Mm-hmm.
And we picked up our pilots even in World War II. George Bush I, he crashed in in the Pacific. Did you know that? And
Yes,
he
that's
got
right.
picked up.
A submarine picked him up. There's film of that. I think I've seen film of that.
Yeah, and he was flying. I forget if it was a reconnaissance plane or a supply plane, but he was in the heat of the battle.
I think he was in a fighter. Tell you the truth.
Was he in a fighter?
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was
Well, good for
attacking
him.
something. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a good tradition, but you got to save your experienced guys so they can teach the kids. And Japanese
right.
never picked up on that.
Same thing in medicine. I mean, you push all the old guys out and the old gals out, and the old elephants are the ones who remember where the water holes are when there's a drought.
Exactly.
And so you need us. Don't push me out, please. Any rate, had an interesting case this week. One of my long-term patients, the right side of her lung, the area between her lung and the chest wall filled up with fluid, Ken.
That doesn't sound good, Doc.
No, it wasn't good. She was in distress in the office, so we admitted her to the hospital. And we tried medical treatment first, but then we had to finally get radiology to come over and put the ultrasound on it and tap it and get it out. And so she was tapped twice, and then she could breathe. And she's got a lot of problems. She's got right-sided heart failure from high blood pressure in her lungs. She's also got liver disease. She has cirrhosis. And these are some of the things that can cause it. Congestive heart failure is the most common, and that's when the fluid backs up into the lungs, and then the pressure from inside the lungs pushes the fluid across the membrane into the space between the chest wall and the lungs. And of course, if you get too much of it, it compromises your ability to breathe. And apparently, you have to breathe to survive.
So what do you go in there with a needle and suck it out or something?
Yeah, you go in with a big needle, and it's actually it's like a trocar, so it's a needle inside of like a hard plastic small tube, and once you get it in there, you pull your needle out, and then you've got something that's atraumatic that won't poke a hole in the lung once you get the fluid down, because you don't want to do that. Then you've got another problem. You've got a pneumothorax, which is where there's air inside the space between the chest wall and the lung, and that can be life-threatening as well. And that comes quickly because every time you breathe, you push more air out.
Sounds like you need a turkey baster.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's not quite that big, and it does have a needle inside of it, and you just pull that out after you get your equipment inside of the pocket of fluid. And so we tapped her, and she got a lot better. And we tapped her twice, actually. But there's a number of things that can cause this. Like I said, congestive heart failure, cirrhosis of the liver, kidney disease. If you're on dialysis and you don't get enough fluid off, you can have problems there. Low protein. And if your protein in your bloodstream gets too low, the fluid will exude across that membrane that surrounds the lung and get into the space between your chest wall and your lung itself. And you can also have obstruction of the great veins above your heart, the superior vena cava, which brings blood back from the head and the arms and the neck, and certain cardiac procedures that are done on kids can cause it. And oddly enough, you can also have a cerebral spinal fluid leak to the pleural space. So you can have fluid from your brain leaking into your pleural. Usually we put to decrease the pressure in the brain, we'll put a small tube into the reservoir of fluid in the brain, and we'll tunnel it underneath the skin down into your belly. And then it gets reabsorbed there.
Wow.
And it sounds pretty dramatic, but
yeah,
it's pretty easy.
Sure, for you, certainly.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'm not going to go in there,
In the old days, when we had these huge pacemakers and defibrillators, we had to put them down in the belly, and so you'd have to tunnel under the skin down into the abdominal wall to be able to pull your wires all the way through to your equipment and back into the heart. That was fun.
Yeah, well, you say so, Doc.
So at any rate, we had infectious disease look at her, and there was no infection, because you can have That's what we call a transudate pleural effusion. Then you have an exudate, which is most commonly from a malignancy. So you get cancer cells in between the lung and the chest wall, and that can pull fluid in there. Of course, pneumonia, you get bacteria in there, and that proliferates, and that can bring in fluid. You can get a blood clot in your lung. You can get abscesses in other parts of your body, or after you have heart surgery. And if you have heart injury or pericardial, the lining around the heart is inflamed. That can cause fluid to collect, and it can come out into your chest.
Now, how do you know if you're suffering from one of these things that it just becomes hard to breathe or get actual pain?
Sometimes there's pain. A lot of times there's not. It's just loss of breath, fast heartbeat, dropping oxygen levels, blue lips and fingertips. And so there's a lot of symptoms that you see. But on exam, there's decreased breath sounds when you put your stethoscope on the chest wall. And if you thump the chest, what we call percussion, and not to be confused with a top hat drum percussion. But it's similar in that you thump. What you do is you put your middle finger, the one that you wave at friends, on the chest wall, and you take your other hand and you tap on that finger, and you work your way up the wall, and you can hear solid to air-filled, and so you can actually gauge how much fluid there is in the chest by doing that. And
so it's like just like knocking your wall at home. You can tell when you got solid or when you have.
You can tell if you're looking for a stud, and you tap on the wall till you hear something solid.
Okay.
And of course, then we do imaging, chest X-rays, CAT scans, and all that, and then we get interventional radiology or somebody over there to. I mean, I know how to do it. It's not that big of a deal, but I'm not credentialed for that. So
farm it out.
Yeah, you got to share the love.
Got to spread the wealth.
You got to spread it around, baby. So did you hear about this crazy guy over in Paris that attacked a dance workshop, and he killed 2 kids and stabbed 9 others? I don't know if anybody else has died. That was over in Paris last week.
I didn't know it was a dance school kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, what? He doesn't like dance or what? I don't get it.
Who knows? People are crazy.
There are a lot of craziness out there.
Yeah, I know. It's just because I don't think they have a lot of guns over there in France, but people still seem to kill each other. So maybe it's not the guns. Maybe it's the people.
Well, probably an Islamist who thought that dancing was evil.
Probably, yeah.
I think dancing is evil, too.
I think my dancing is evil. Nobody wants to see that.
I think I like being evil. I like to dance.
So I'm not a dancer at all.
It's like my Baptist patients who say they don't drink, but they take pills like Ativan and Xanax and Valium. I call it.
You don't need alcohol. Yeah, you don't need any alcohol then.
Yeah, I'll call it Baptist bourbon. So, like you said, Ken, there's rumors going around that we're headed for a recession.
Yeah, and more than rumors.
And there's some signs, and there was a big sell-off, I guess, on Wall Street this week. About 1,000 points down?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a lot when the Dow's at 36,000, but still, it's a significant indicator for us. But, you think about the crash in 87 when the market went from 2,700 to 18 or 1,700, almost half the value in a day or two.
Yeah.
And then back in 2007-8, we really crashed. It's come back nicely though, hasn't it?
And it will again.
Yeah, as long as there's a country and as long as we're making something, we got to make
a correction.
something.
It's called a correction. It has to happen.
And it's a forward indicator. It predicts 3 to 6 to 9 months out what the economy is going to do.
The market was really, really high. It really did need a correction. It has been a while since we've had a serious one anyway.
So speaking of those F-35s that Israel bought, they have some. We're swapping out the old F-16s with the F-35s in Japan. And I guess they're retiring the Osprey. You remember that, the one that crashed?
Yeah, that was never very reliable.
And
That was
they're coming out with a new model. I don't know if I have a picture of it here or not. Anyway,
I don't understand why they built it in the first place. I don't see the advantage to the Osprey.
I guess it's supposed to be like one of the old helicopters. It's supposed to be able to be a forward deployment for troops and pick up the wounded too. So, but you could get there faster than you could with a helicopter, which maybe can fly 150, 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, well, those engines that had to swivel never worked very well.
Yeah. Yep. So the F-35 is really in the news, and in the Military Times, I guess they have finally has told the Marines they can have some F-35Cs, which of course will be on carriers. So this plane was, I think, originally designed in part to be able to go onto a carrier because you want forward deployment. You want to be able to hit your enemy, and you want to be within range. And these are pretty good machines. After the F-22, they're probably the best in the world.
Agreed. Yes. And that was the whole idea for building the F-35 was that all the services would have them. So they had to build a Marine version that could be a Harrier-like plane.
Be more carrier friendly. I guess it has a heavier payload, and it's a little bit heavier plane than the F-22 and capable of carrying more armaments and fuel. But it also means that you have to redo your landing gear on the deck of a carrier. So your cabling has to be stronger. Your whole engine system on the deck has to be stronger to fling them off as well. The catapults, they call them.
But every service is using the same plane, the same spare parts, so it will overall be cheaper, I would think, in the long run for the country.
And of course, outside the United States, that's the most sought after plane in the world.
Yeah. Nobody gets their F-22. Sorry.
No. You can have all the F-16s you want if you got cash. The F-35s we'll talk it about.
We'll discuss that with you. Yeah.
The F-22s get the hell out of my.
I don't care who you are.
My store.
That's right. The store ain't open no more. Yeah.
And then, did you see where somebody posted Kamala Harris's birth certificate?
Oh no, I have not.
And on it, it's race Caucasian. Because the Indians, the Asian Indians are Caucasians. Now they call themselves people of color, and at the lunch table, I'm the white boy. I call them the brown boys, and we go back and forth. And they're still mad at the English for coming in there and kicking their butts. But I tell them I love the English. I love those blonde bastards. So Kamala, who is now black, actually her mother was from southern India. They're probably not strictly Caucasians. They're Tamils, and the Tamils, Tamils, are the people who were left over after the first diaspora out of Africa 50,000 years ago or so. And what they did is they traveled along the coast and the Indian Ocean and down into the subcontinent, into India. And then at that time, when the archipelago was a solid landmass in the Ice Age, they just walked their way across to Australia. And then from there, of course, they populated Pacifica. And so she's probably part of the original diaspora out of Africa. And then her father was a Jamaican American professor, and I think he had half Scotch and half Jamaican blood, and if he even had that much. And he was a professor emeritus at Stanford. And her mother was a professor too. I think she was a biomedical researcher, and she went up to, I believe, McGill University in Montreal, but one of the universities up in Canada, and was on staff there. So this is a privileged young lady. And I can say that because I'm probably 40 years older than her, 30 years older than her.
She's like the rest of us. She's a combination of all kinds of things. She's a hybrid.
She's a mutt like the rest of us, like most of us.
She's a hybrid. That's why she likes those cars.
And just because my muddishness is a little lighter than her muddishness doesn't mean that her muddishness is better than mine.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And I don't see anything wrong with having Jewish blood in me. I mean, come on, the Jews are some of the smartest people on the planet. And you think of that little country, Israel, and they're holding their own, surrounded by hostiles.
Yeah, be proud.
I think when they fought their first war against Syria and Jordan and Egypt, there were something like 80 million Muslims that bordered them, and I think there were 3 or 4 million Israelis, and they defeated them.
That's right. Well, I that's because they have us behind them, and if we disappear, they will be overrun on all sides immediately. I don't think they could withstand an attack from the entire Muslim world at the same time without our help. Do you think they're that good?
I think they could probably hang in there as long as somebody sold them weapons, because their original jet fighters they bought from France, and but a lot of the original planes, you know what they were, Ken? They were World War II surplus, and if you were a pilot in World War II, you were allowed to buy one plane cheap. So all the Jewish pilots got together and said, well, we got to help Israel. And so they set up a dummy corporation in Central America, and they said they were going to start an airline. And so they started buying the planes that could function as airliners, like the DC-3s, then the transport planes. And then they would ship them to South America and then fly them over to Israel. And they also got a hold of some fighter planes, and they beefed them up by going through, I think, Czechoslovakia. The Czechs said, yeah, we'll supercharge them for you. And so they were getting P-51s and smuggling them out of the United States over to Europe and then down to Israel.
Wow. That's one way to build an Air Force, I guess.
Yeah, that's how they got their original Air Force. And they scared the king of Egypt so badly when they started bombing Cairo that he left town and went out to his country estate. Pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I didn't know any of that. I thought they just, well, but they wouldn't have any money really after they were just originally put together to buy in it, to make an Air Force.
We're Jewish, dude. We got money stashed everywhere.
Okay.
I think we own the NFL. I don't know. Are there any Gentile owners in the NFL anymore?
I don't know. I bet there are. I don't know though. Not a lot of original families still left. I know the Hellish family still owns the Bears, but other than that, I'm not sure how many of those original owners are still left.
Well, the Bucks are owned by a Jewish family.
All right.
And so is sort of the Patriots and Atlanta Falcons, and I can think of a lot of teams that are owned by Jews. So we got money stashed, baby.
All right. Well, enough to buy those fighters, I guess.
And you know what Rothschild said? Rothschild was the Jewish wine and financier guy over in France back in the 18th and 19th century, and they said, sire, don't you want to be king? He says, no, I'm happy being banker. Thank you. He said, hey, you go where the money is, dude.
That's right.
You don't make much money in government, as much as you can steal, but then they just take it all back.
Stay with the banking job. You got about a minute. You got about a minute
left.
Here. Yeah, 1 minute left. About a minute and 10 seconds.
All right. So did you hear where they were going to commute the 9/11 terrorist?
Yeah, there's a plea deal
to life.
Right.
And the Secretary of Defense reversed that.
I know. I was proud of him.
Good for him. Finally, he stood up and did something other than.
It only took him 4 years to do something.
Yeah, I mean, come on, Lloyd. We don't want to hear about your prostate anymore. We want some. We want to get some work out of you, dude.
That's why I didn't do it early. He's been in the hospital a lot, so
Yeah, he's been in the hospital, and we're back to that sex thing, Ken. I wonder how his libido is.
I don't want to get there. We only got 30 seconds left, so we're not going there, Doc.
Okay,
give the phone number. Give the phone number.
I am at 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411, and I am your Dr. Bill. We're your one-stop body shop, full service. We have telemedicine as well, and I've got Ken with me every Sunday.
That's right. Say goodbye, Doc.
Goodbye, Doc.